Happy Tuesday. I am here to let you know that I survived Monday. So it was a good day. And I am going to be a little bit more transparent than I normally am in the mornings, although I am pretty transparent. But just wanted to kind of share a little bit with you guys to kind of let you know a little background on me and kind of where I'm at now and why I'm here and how I got here. And I know that being vulnerable and being transparent can often be extremely scary, but there is so much freedom in being honest and being truthful with others. And so a lot of people know me, but they don't really know me. A lot of people know me as the bubbly, outgoing, happy person on Facebook. And if you know me, then you know that I do have a very outgoing personality. I'm also very prone to lose my thoughts quite quickly. And sometimes even in videos, you will see that. And so what I wanted to share with you guys is that bondage, addiction, strongholds. When you look, good morning, Caitlin, when you look at somebody's life and you wonder, how did they get there? How could they do this? How could they be there? There are roots that take place very young in people. And there are opportunities the enemy sees fit to sink his teeth and start kind of pruning people's minds, children's minds, families' minds, way before things ever really come to fruition, before you ever really kind of see. And so when you see a drug addict, or when you see somebody that is homeless, or you see somebody that is just like, oh, they are just, how did they get here? They didn't get there overnight. And I guarantee you that we look at people and go, oh, they're just an addict because they choose to be an addict. Well, not everybody chooses to be an addict. Sometimes you inherit it. Sometimes, almost always, it's a generational curse. And it will slap you in the face. Shaking my laptop. It will slap you in the face. And you will wake up one day and say, how did I get here? My mom and dad are wonderful people. But my dad had a really rough childhood. And my dad went through some really hard things. And my mom and dad have been open about their struggles. And most people that know them, it's no big surprise that they also struggled with addiction. And I remember my mom struggling with depression and anxiety, and me being a very young 20-something-year-old who would be like, you just need to snap out of it. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, get out of the bed. Like, why can't you be stronger? I remember having this, and I'm not really going to speak a lot of scripture to you this morning. I'm just telling you my story from my life and hope that it will speak to you, that you will share this and it will speak to somebody today. Because I am a day-to-day testament of God's goodness when I should be dead, when my family should be dead, when my brother should be dead. I'm talking like should be dead. We're not. We're still living. We're still proof of God's goodness and his promises and my grandmother's prayers. My grandmother is a strong prophetess, woman of God who has covered her family, her children, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren. And I am a testament of God's goodness. My brother, a testament of God's goodness. So I remember being like, my mom is so weak. Like, what is wrong with her? I didn't know what my mom was going through. And you don't know what people are going through. I didn't know what she was struggling with. And I'm not, I hope to one day, with the permission of people in my family, to go extremely into depth about kind of different things. Today, I won't take that liberty because it hasn't been given to me. But what I can tell you is what I dealt with. When I was 27 years old, I had Colton, 26, 27. And I had went on a journey to lose weight. It's something that I have struggled with my whole life. It's something that have been insecure about and have always searched for man's approval. But I also loved the Lord from a very, very young age. But all Satan really had to do was just kind of magnify my insecurities, and they would most definitely do me in. So I went on a healthy journey. I'm talking, I was healthy, not some fad diet, no diet pills, no nothing. I just went and exercised, and I threw myself into that, and I ate right. And I took a 1.5 year journey of just completely throwing myself into that. And what I didn't know at the time is that was an addiction. I became addicted to working out, addicted to looking good. And so Corey and I came to, and I had a lot of loose skin on my stomach that was hereditary. I call it the fat fanny pack. And my stomach hung, and it was not cute. And one of the things that Corey and I had discussed is if I could lose the weight, that I would be able to go get a tummy tuck. And so in 2010, I did that. I got a tummy tuck, and I had 2 children. My life was perfect. It was Emmy and Colton, and I had my daughter and my son. And I was going to be, a lot of people don't know this about me, I was going to be a certified personal trainer. I was going to school for that. That was what I wanted to do. I was still working where I'm working now, but I had it all together, and I was making good money. I was a manager, like everything was perfect. But the skinnier that I got, the more vain that I got, the more self-confident that all of a sudden that confidence that I'd wanted for so long, it wasn't difficult. I had it. I had self-confidence, a little bit too much self-confidence. And I would go to the gym, and I would get a lot of attention. And sometimes I would find myself alone in the gym with people who would give me too much attention, to the point that I decided that I probably needed to stop going at that time of the day. And again, for those who are joining me now, I'm being really transparent about some things and some parts of my story that I haven't shared, and I really felt I needed to share this morning, because addiction and bondage and strongholds doesn't happen immediately. It doesn't happen overnight. It's small plants from people throughout your life. Then one day you wake up and say, how did I get here? How did I even get here? How did I become addicted to Adderall? How did I become this complete shell of a person that I used to be? Right. And so I'm speaking out against Adderall because it is something nobody wants to talk about. Okay. It is go get our prescriptions. It's like nobody wants to talk about it, that it's synthetic meth. Like nobody wants to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. If your children's on Adderall, and I'm not saying anything against it. I couldn't take it right. I'm going to show you the setup to it. Stay with me. Had the tummy tuck. I am like, I go have the tummy tuck. I'm looking good. I'm feeling great. And I needed to get like an extra 10 pounds off. So I go to one of my checkups, post-surgery checkups. And the doctor's like, you look fantastic. Like you could be a poster child. My stomach is so flat. I am looking good. Caitlin, you remember I was looking good. And then the doctor says, but we need to get those extra 10 pounds off of you. I'm going to write you a prescription for phentermine. I didn't even know I knew of it. I'd never taken diet pills before. As a matter of fact, during my tummy tuck, I was on Lortabs. I was on Ambien. I was on Finnegan. I was freaking parked up in a recliner, Corey feeding me my medicine. Like Corey had control of my medicine, but not because I couldn't control it, but because I was post-surgery and I needed somebody to be able to say, okay, she took this at this time. Corey had to like clean my drains out. I had drains coming out of my side. I'd had liposuction. Like I'd had a lot of things done to me. Even at that point, I had withdrawals from the pain medicine and didn't even know what they were. Like I remember calling up my dad and being like, Daddy, I'm really like, because they only give you Lortab for so long. And once the surgery, like the post-surgery time was over, I didn't need the Lortabs or the Ambien or the Finnegan anymore. And I was okay. Like I actually felt fine getting off of it. But all of a sudden, 30 days later, I'm really sick and I've got diarrhea and I have no clue what's going on. And I call my dad up and I'm like, hey, Daddy, like I'm really sick on my stomach. And my dad's like, well, when's the last time that you had a Lortab? And I'm like, well, I don't know, like maybe like 6 weeks ago, or not 6 weeks, like maybe 6 or 7 days ago. I'm trying to remember, quite like 11 years back. And my dad's like, April, you're withdrawing. And I was like, what? What is withdrawing? I had no clue what withdrawals were. And, but I was sick. I was so sick. And so I have drains coming out of me and Corey's keeping my medicine for me. So I make sure I get it when I need it. And I never have a problem. As a matter of fact, I had a prescription for phentermine. Oh, let me back up. So I get the phentermine prescription, and I remember calling somebody that I knew who had been on it before, and I'm like, "Hey, is this what you were telling me about that gave you all that energy and you were able to organize your stuff and you could never organize enough stuff?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, that's the stuff." And I remember this fear. I can't explain it to you, but I remember this fear in my spirit whenever I took that. Like I got that prescription and I went and filled, and I was really nervous. But I needed to get an extra 10 pounds off. 145 pounds wasn't skinny enough. The doctor needed me to be in the 130s. I needed to be his poster child. So I filled the prescription. And at first I'm taking like half pills like that. And I remember that first day that I took half a pill, I was up studying because like I said, I was gonna be a personal trainer. And I remember getting on the elliptical trainer and going so fast. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. But even then, I took it like I was supposed to. It was no problem. There was nothing, I had no desire to overuse my diet medication. It was prescription, and it was very similar to Adderall, which I found out later on in my life. And so we put the so I'm telling you, like, I'm absorbed, I'm consumed, I'm skinny, I'm taking these pills, I'm doing great. And then I go to my 6-month checkup, and I had to tell my doctor that I was pregnant. I remember sitting on the couch one night and Corey was like, "Oh, by the way, the other night, I might have slipped up a little bit." And I'm like, "What?" Like, I was so mad. I'm like, "How could you do this to me?" Like, why? I just remember, okay, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'd been to the gym. I had been working out. My chest started hurting. I didn't decide. It was like my chest was hurting because I worked out. And something I remember, but I still remember what I was wearing the day it happened. And this is going along, okay? And I'm probably going to share this in pieces. But I remember being like, my chest hurts. Wait a minute. Corey said he slipped up the other day. Oh, crap. And I remember being at the office. At that time, we were still in an office on Cooper Road. And I went down to CVS and got a pregnancy test. And I went into the bathroom at work and I took it. And it came back double lines pink, and I went out, and anybody that's watching this that was working with me at that time, I went out the office and into my truck, and I cried. And at this time I was working again with the personhood amendment to try to ban abortion. And here I am in a place with a pregnancy that I don't want. Now, I wasn't thinking abortion, but I was thinking, I don't want this pregnancy. I don't want to be pregnant. I am skinny. I am going to be a personal trainer. I have all these plans for my life. God, how could you do this to me? But rewind a week before, I was sitting at Pizza Hut across from my then brother-in-law and my sister, and a day after church saying, yeah, something's not right in my spirit. I'm in a really dark place. You see, I was skinny. I was happy. I was supposed to be happy. I was confident. I was going to be a personal trainer. I had everything I ever wanted. But all of a sudden, my soul is dark and my heart is dark and my mind is going to places that it shouldn't have been. And all of a sudden, I'm like, dude, I'm not in a good place. And I still have that prescription for phentermine, but I'm not taking it all the time. Like, I'm taking it here and there. It might have been the second prescription after the doctor gave it to me. I can't remember. But I just remember, like, that was the first time I ever took it. Good morning, Miss Debbie. And so I find out that I'm pregnant with Brayson. No big surprise. He's been a little bit of a challenge ever since. He even grew sideways in my stomach. And for those who are wondering, what is it like to get pregnant after you have a tummy tuck? It's really awkward. It's really awkward. I have a tummy tuck. I have financed this tummy tuck. I am paying monthly on it. And now I'm pregnant. And God's like, ta-da! And I'm like, you suck. All right? You suck big time. I was mad. I'm just, God, you've forgiven me for this. I'm being transparent with you guys. God just took me around and I wasn't happy about it. And I'm sitting in that truck in the office and I call Corey. And given that day, people that were working with me thought someone had died. And in a way, somebody had died. I had died. Everything that I wanted, all the plans that I had for myself were dead when those two pink lines showed up. No, God, no. This is not the way that it's supposed to be. No, I reject this. I don't want anything to do with it. What I didn't know is that God was saving me from myself because of that conversation I'd had a week ago, that I was in a dark place. And God said, but I'm going to put something inside of you that's going to preserve you, that's going to sustain you, that's going to bring you back down to ground zero because your head got you up in the clouds. So many symbolisms in the pregnancy with Brayson, who ended up being a very resemblance of me. I'll share more a later day. This might be a series, I don't know. Addiction started to take root way before I ever knew it, in a place where I said, I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to be like my mom. I'm never going to be depressed. What's wrong with you, Lisa Faye? Get out of the bed. Be stronger. You're weak. You're weak. Satan was like, your time is coming. Just give it a little bit. Because if Satan did something immediately, then we would be like, we see you. We see you. Say, we got you. We're like this. We got it. We understand what's going on. But it doesn't happen like that. 2- and 3-year-old little boys running around playing with cars in the sand don't want to be needle shooting heroin addicts when they're 17 and 18. Little girls who dress Barbie dolls and play pretend don't want to be Adderal addicts, 35 years old. But God is so gracious that he says that if we will call on his name, that he will save us. And what you'll hear in my later stories is that it's been a long journey. What you see on Facebook right now, what you see on Facebook every day, what you've seen on Facebook for the last 10 years, if you've followed me, is a woman who just is so desperately wanting to find peace, but struggled at every corner to find it. Why? Because I was trying to do a work that had already been done on the cross. Colossians 1:11 says that I will make you strong, and I will give you the ability to be patient. I will give you the ability to endure. I'm going to leave my story right here. I'm going to leave it right here. I'll join you tomorrow and share a little bit more. We'll pick up with what happened when I found out that I was pregnant and I had to go to my 6-month checkup and tell my doctor, who had specifically asked me 6 months before, are you sure you're done having children? Because this is going to be like, I'm done having children. I am done. Well, you guys know the story's not over because I have 4 now. So I love you guys. I do need to cut this off, and I hate to leave you hanging, but I kind of want to leave you hanging. I want to engage you. I want you to understand. Pray for those who struggle because they don't want to be like that. I don't care how many pills they pop. I don't care how many needles they use. They don't want to be like that. I promise they don't. They just think there's no other way, and they have succumbed to the fact that they think they'll always be like that. There was a point that I said, I'm just going to be like this. Like, God, you can't save me from this. Like, you can't. I'm going to be like this. I'm just going to be an addict. It's just who I am. It's my identity. It's who I am. But it's not my identity, and it's not who I am. Your Bible verse for the day is Colossians 1:11. I love you guys. Have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.